Korea moves fast. New trends, new brands, new things to buy every day. But in a country built on centuries of tradition, are the old rituals disappearing? Today we're exploring Seoul to see whether Korean traditions still live on.
Extremely convenient. There is a bit of a chicken coop sense to it. I think every Korean looks up to this king, right? This is a scene from My Home Planet. Best food, maybe of my life, to remove all of the destruction that was done during the Japanese occupation. So, Rose Road, right? Come on, bellboy. Come on, bellboy. Good morning, everybody, and Happy New Year. 새해 복 많이 받으세요. By the time you're watching this, you would have had a nice new year, maybe enjoyed spending time with family and friends, and enjoyed eating dokguk and becoming 1 year older. Today we're at Jongmyo Shrine. It's my first time to go to this shrine here in Seoul. And it's a shrine to house the ancestral tablets of the Joseon kings and a place where the ancestral rites are performed still to this day for Joseon rulers. It's my first time here, but I'm absolutely blown away by how huge this place is. I was really expecting like a small little building, like the size of a hanok you can sleep in, but it's literally like bigger than some of the palaces here in Seoul. Wow, it's amazing. And the fact that they still do this ritual about 500 years later is absolutely crazy. Something I learned is that the rituals that are done here at Jongmyo, there's people who are, their full-time job was, I don't think anymore, but their full-time job was to prepare all of the food and prepare the area for the ancestral rites. And there was actually a law that said that the king actually can't ask them to do any other work. Their full-time job is just preparing ancestral rites. They used to do it 5 times a year, but now they only do it 2 times a year. What I find really interesting about that is that these days, many families still prepare food for the ancestral rites during Seollal and also Chuseok. And usually it's just one ajumoni who's doing all of it by herself. So it's crazy to think there was a whole team of full-time staff that were preparing these ancestral rites. I bet the food was really good, but I'm not sure if they're allowed to eat it. It's really easy being in a place like this to transport yourself back in time, and just imagine this would have been full of people, including the king and the crown prince, and people doing ritual performances and ritual dances, and also some really beautiful ritual music, which is UNESCO, I don't know if that's true actually, which is absolutely beautiful, and to this day something that gives me goosebumps when I listen to. But it's really easy to see when you're here. Just imagine there would have been so many people lined up preparing things in beautiful ritual. Something else that strikes me, I guess, because Korea is not really a place that's over-touristed yet, although it seems to be really booming in terms of tourism recently. When you go to historic sites, the main people who you see around being tourists are Koreans themselves, which I think it's really good in terms of having an authentic experience as a traveller, but I also think it means sometimes that things are not explained well in other languages, or like I think sometimes parts of Korean history are skipped over. However, here I was listening to the audio tour, and the way that the audio tour started was a really brief history of the Joseon dynasty, which I think for a foreigner is exactly what is needed. Koreans don't need this kind of history. They know the basic history of the Joseon dynasty. But if you're visiting Korea for the first time, you probably don't know who the Joseon kings are and when they started taking over, when they took over Korea and why.
What's the Joseon is?
Yeah, what's Joseon? Yeah, people don't know. And that's something I often, when I first came here and I didn't know so much about Korean history, even though I'm a historian, I would be like, what's that? Who's that? King what? Like this kind of thing. But I think it's getting better and better and more foreign friendly. I just really hope that they can make it sustainable, foreign friendly and yet sustainable and not over touristed like some places like Japan or Europe. Anyway, Roseman, I love your heritage.
Oh, thank you.
Do you like my heritage?
Yeah.
Also, check the air quality today. It's so good. I've never seen Seoul air quality this good. Air pure, because I'm here.
Human air purifier.
Human air purifier. Thank you, Roseman.
She's from Tasmania. It's a really clean air place.
Something I've heard really often said is that during holidays, Korean holidays, Seoul is completely empty and everything is shut. So we've come to Seoul for that reason, to avoid the crowds and just see if it's actually true. Is Seoul empty and is everything shut? Is there anything we can do on the holidays? Let's find out. I guess, firstly, being here at Jongmyo Shrine, there's a lot of people around, but I suspect that's because during Korean holidays it's free. So it's a really nice place to come and visit while you can and avoid the entry fee. And I think this is something really nice that Korea does for its citizens and to try and encourage its culture, to make Korean traditional places free on traditional days, Chuseok and Seollal. What I'm walking on right now is called the Shinro. Actually, I'm not walking on it. I'm walking right now on one of the roads next to it. Now you know why our channel is called Rose Road, in Korean, Rosero. Anyway, the middle path here is called the Shinro, and it's for spirits to walk on, so they can freely pass around. So you're not supposed to walk on it. But it's interesting because when I think of spirits walking on paths, I'm thinking of the movie Mulan, the Disney cartoon from when I was a kid. And the spirits were up to mischief all the time. So I want to know, like the previous Joseon kings, I think they're out blessing the land, but maybe some of them are up to mischief. I don't know. We've got lots of different people. I'm sure there's lots of characters. Just walk past really interesting artwork that's talking about how humans deserve human spaces, that the buildings that we have, and I think by implication, of course, that they have in Korea, are really meant to be functional rather than to evoke joy in humans. And I would agree with that. I think many Koreans, even though they know that living in an apartment, for example, is extremely convenient, there is a bit of a chicken coop sense to it. And also I think the fact that many Korean apartments are not really aesthetically pleasing to the eye. There's not really any effort to try and make them beautiful or functional or green spaces or even any other colour than white and grey. This is trying to talk about how we should think about our spaces and how it actually impacts humans and I guess how we feel in our life. I would love to see Korea adopt some of the policies Australia has, where these days if you build buildings, like big office towers even, you have to have a certain amount of green space. So you'll see some newer buildings in Australia, in Sydney or Melbourne, that have got like literally a garden going down one side of the building. I know it's not possible here in Korea necessarily, where the winter is really dry and summer is really hot and blah, 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 but there could be a more effort made, I think, definitely, to make buildings more pleasing to people and more comfortable, and also make more parking spaces or ban cars. Anyway, that one's a Roseman.
But not everyone wants the speed and convenience of apartment life. Some people are choosing something slower, something more traditional. So we're heading to Eunpyeong Hanok Village to see what that looks like today.
What do I think? So we've come here to Eunpyeong Hanok Mall. So far, I'm just kind of like, see, Bukchon, it is very crowded, but there's a lot of stuff going on. Right nearby, there's many restaurants, cafes, shops, and things to look at. And whereas here, it's actually just residential, and all of the places are really modern. Sorry, modern, that's probably the wrong word. They're newly built hanoks. They're really beautiful and huge. I'd love to live in one. I think it's a good place to live, to be honest. And maybe it is a good place to get a picture. But in terms of just like actually visiting, I think Bukchon is good, to be honest. It's much closer to other things. I found a cafe to get some nice traditional Korean tea, some not so traditional cake, and of course a coffee. And I feel like I need it because right now I'm a bit of a grouch. I'm in a real grouchy mood, and maybe this is a good example of I'm not always positive and happy and like smiley. I don't know. Today, like I'm trying to smile. I'm really happy to be here, but I'm just like kind of like, oh, disappointed. I don't know. Maybe that's the wrong word because this is really beautiful and I really appreciate being able to come here and experience this for free. I don't need to actually pay anything to enter and see this because it's a residential village. But yeah, I don't know. I think maybe if once I've had my coffee and some cake, my mood will go blub and be happy. Also, this table has many flowers, mainly roses. So, rose road, right? Right? I feel like my mood, it's already leveled up. But also looking just out here, I can see right out to these bald mountains, I want to call them, like just really rocky with just a few pine trees on them. And like I said, it's not common to see in the southern part of Korea. It's more something that you see as you go more and more north, I think, in Korea. Anyway, but it reminds me of this one particular mountain and this one particular hike in my hometown. Mount Amos, remember, Jayon? Have you done it? Mount Amos, the hazards. The hazards in Freycinet. Climbing up those mountains, I don't know. I did it once, I wouldn't do it again. It was terrifying. Just like upright on a rock like this. Have you done it? Oh, you did it. You did it with Ryan.
Yeah.
That's right. You did it with Ryan, and the girls didn't go. You guys were like, we're going to quickly do it, and you went up and did it and back. No, I remember having like a panic attack going up there. Like I was like, I'm literally have to come back down. No. Anyway, so but it's just a funny memory, actually. Reminds me of home. Can you climb up those, surely? People do, yeah. I won't be doing that. Also, compared to what I thought, the rainbow cake was so good. Firstly, it lifted my mood, but also it tasted really good because the cream was really fresh and the cake was just sweet, not flavoured, but it was just really good. So now my mood is really good. Wow, I love the little balcony. Wow. I'm really glad to be walking around now post-sugar with a little bit of a better mood. I'm not a little bit, a lot better mood. I feel actually really happy and fulfilled now. And I just feel so thankful for the beautiful air quality today and also that it's not cold. It's so sunny, I need my sunglasses, so it's nice to get those out. I guess like maybe I have a different opinion about Hanok villages because I think when we've revealed it now, we live in Daegu, and in Daegu we're really spoiled for choice in terms of Hanok villages. There's so many Hanok villages, and there's one actually that's quite near to where we live, which I've been to now, of course, like many times, like maybe 5 times. And every time, there's not a single person in there. The only people that are there are the residents. And so if they see tourists, especially like for me, because I don't look Korean, right? They invite us in. Do you want to come in and see the inside of the house? Like this. This is exactly what happens in and around Daegu. Whereas here, there's many, and also the ones around Daegu, they're actually traditional Hanoks. They're old. These are beautiful, but they're newly built by really rich people. Although, I think most people who probably own Hanoks in Korea are pretty rich. Good assumption, bad assumption, I don't know. Anyway, I still appreciate coming to see them. Oh, magpies. Modern Hanoks makes me think about how we can mix old things and new things together. And something we've never shared on the channel, but is that Roseman is actually a really skilled builder, and he has like a dream to build something that kind of, like his own place that mixes, you know, modern things with old things and in our specific style in terms of us, and that's kind of us as a couple, I think. We're sort of mixing the old and the new. I don't know, what is this? Is that a mouse door? I won't touch it because it's someone's house, but maybe it's a post office box or like thick, like a mouse door. It's so cute, right? Or is it a water drain? There's a lot of water here. That's one thing I think that these places do, is they've merged the modern and the old. I think old traditional hanoks, they're usually quite small, even for the wealthy people of the old society. So my final thoughts on Eunpyeong Hanok Village. I think it's worth coming if you want to get really good pictures. I think there's a really good chance here to get a picture uninterrupted without people in the background. But I think if you don't have much time, you can just go to Bukchon and enjoy a lot of things. Because, I don't know, I think maybe because it's a holiday at the moment, we went through a lot of traffic to get here, even though it was only a short distance, I guess. So I'm not too sure how easy it is to get here either on the train or the bus. There's a painting by a British woman done in 1921 who was visiting Korea, which shows people wearing brightly coloured hanbok. And along with the painting, it's commented that Korean people usually wear white, sort of a country of white people. But on Seollal, and I guess on Chuseok too, people wear their best and brightest clothes, which is really exciting and beautiful to see. And something that's sort of doesn't really exist anymore in Korea, other than maybe sometimes you see small children wearing hanbok on holidays, which is really beautiful. So in the article, there's an expert on hanbok culture who talks about how we can incorporate modern hanbok into everyday life rather than wearing hanbok just for special occasions, make it sort of part of everyday life. And so she suggests we can wear things like, I think it's called dengi, like the dengi mori, like the silk scarves in the hair, which you could also wear on your wrist or around your neck, to sort of use Korean hanbok in your modern everyday style. She also suggests men could wear the men's belts, like a Korean style belt, along with just a regular outfit that they wear. And also using Korean traditional knot art in things like key rings and jewellery and hair ties are also a really beautiful way to incorporate modern hanbok into modern styling. And so this is something I really want to do, and I would love to get Roseman a really nice modern hanbok belt to just wear with his very cool fashion forward outfits that he always wears. So yeah, I want to think on it a little bit more about ways I can incorporate things like maybe some silk scarves and things like that into my outfits to, like, I don't know, like respect Korea's traditions and really appreciate that really old traditional culture.
Seoul may move fast today, but places like Gyeongbokgung Palace remind us that Korean tradition runs much deeper than modern trends.
This place is absolutely full of foreigners right now. More than half of the people here, I would say, are tourists, which is absolutely crazy, but also really great, I think, for Korea's tourism industry. However, when we've been before, even like not on a holiday and paid to come into Gyeongbokgung, there is usually a lot of tourists. But you know, when I first came here, maybe in 2019, like I would say maybe 5% foreigners here. But now it's like 50%, maybe because it's a holiday and all the Koreans are back in their hometowns. But yeah, crazy. So I also think we noticed too, a lot of the regular businesses, like small businesses and things like that, seem to be shut, but places that cater heavily to foreigners and to tourists are open, which is really interesting. But I think also it means that if you are coming to Korea on one of these long holidays for Lunar New Year and the Harvest Moon Festival, you can definitely come and find that a lot of the things you'll want to do and that are English friendly are open. It's actually insane. There's so many people in here. But I'm pretty sure if we keep walking past the main courtyards, it'll be thinned out because Gyeongbokgung is absolutely huge. I think also it's interesting here is learning a little bit about all of the construction works they've been doing. That's the wrong word. Restoration works they've been doing. In particular, you can see just at the entrance gate to Gyeongbokgung, you can see that they've actually removed the old way of entering, which was like a roundabout, and they've turned it into a road. Basically, this is part of an attempt to remove all of the destruction that was done during the Japanese occupation and restore it back to the way it was during the Joseon dynasty. I think it's like a 50-year plan that the Korean government has to restore all of Gyeongbokgung back to its former glory. Not just Gyeongbokgung, I think also all of the palaces, Cheongdeokgung as well, which I think is really great to see. It's like slowly over time using artisans to make things back to how it was. I can't wait to see it. It's really great being here and just seeing so many people really appreciating Korean culture, seeing a lot of people dressed up in hanbok, which is really, really nice to see, and they look so beautiful. Something else I'm noticing here looking around, right from Gyeongbokgung, you can see all of these mountains that are really rocky. Like you can see they're kind of sparsely populated with pine trees and many rocks. And what's really interesting for me about this is I've spent most of my time in Korea in the southern part of Korea. When I see old Korean nature paintings, I always see these beautiful sort of landscapes which are mainly rocks with a few pine trees. And I always wonder, this is my maybe 5th, 6th, 7th time to see Gyeongbokgung. I'm not sure now. Anyway, I absolutely love coming here. And even though I've seen it many times, I'm always amazed by just how grand the scale is here. And particularly looking up and seeing the beautiful colours of the main pavilion here. But also, I guess now I'm just sort of really struck by thinking about how many of Korea's great kings and queens have sat on the throne in there, and how many great Korean people have definitely been in this main hall. Think about just over in Gwanghwamun. You can see the statues of Lee Sun-shin, and you can also see the statue, of course, of Sejongdaewang. They've definitely been in this room. That's like crazy, just seeing that piece of history and imagining it sort of come to life. Also coming here reminds me of my friends and family back home that have come all the way to visit me. And actually I realised how loved I am. I've had so many friends and family come here and visit, which is so nice. But particularly, I'm thinking about a visit that my dad did, and he came here. And I remember it was snowing. And we were, we saw people making snow ducks right here. It was just covered in snow and so cold, and it was really magical to see. Maybe we'll put some pictures here. Korea's intellectual king. I think Sejong and his style of rule, his thinking is really what's shaped Korea's modern sort of attitudes to education, right? I think every Korean looks up to this king, right? The intellectual king, the scientist king, the king that invented a language. So I think while Sejongdaewang is giving a father kind of look, this one is giving literally a guardian look. It's really scary. Something that's really interesting here though, if you can see just beside me, someone's come and done ancestral rites for Lee Sun-shin behind me. They've come and given some apple, as part of the Lunar New Year ancestral rites. Someone's been really thoughtful. You'll never guess where we're going. Hint, it's to get my favourite food in my favourite part of Seoul. I wonder if you guessed right. This is where we are, getting Dakgalbi at Organic Dakgalbi in Yongsan. It's just literally the best. Best food, maybe of my life. Is that an exaggeration? I do like yukka bibimbap, but it's pretty good. My favourite food in Seoul for sure. I don't know many words. It's just too good. If you haven't come here before, you must come here if you come to Seoul. It's a must. Actually, probably my favourite video on our channel is a video, a Dakgalbi journey. A video that Roseman made of me riding a bike to come to Yongsan to eat this food and then enjoying it. Kind of like a love letter. So I guess for me it has a romantic meaning. And some raw garlic, that's his style. Okay. Roseman.
Especially I like cabbage.
The cabbage is so sweet, right?
It's so good.
So good. All right, enjoy, Roseman.
We've been talking a lot about Korean traditions today, but sometimes tradition is much simpler, like enjoying a meal with loved ones. There truly is no better way to finish the day.
All right, here's the room. Just walked in. Luggage is still outside. So we have a bathtub, very nice. And yeah, a separate sink and bath is separate to this room. So, oh, and a bidet. Very good, very good. We have a bed. I think it's double bed, not a queen. I'm not sure. A big TV. Even like a little seat. I think it's not bad. I think it's quite clean. Oh! Me buy stocks. Is that free? Better check. Probably not. Surely not. This says with compliments, so I'm guessing you have to pay for this. Okay. Oh, room service. Oh, yay! Come on, Roseman. Okay, let's unpack our things.
Seoul moves fast, but tradition here hasn't vanished. It's still present in the palaces, the homes, and the food people share. It just looks a little different than it used to.
Thank you for watching today's video. If you like this video and you want to see more videos about Korean culture and life with me and Roseman, then see you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps us out. Bye. This is a scene from My Home Planet.